Here we go with the tunes from the broom with the fat track. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, and this is OG. Okay. Microphone check 1, 2. What is this? The No Hidden Agenda with that podcast business. It's your boy Cash, aka Uncle Cash, aka your side chick's favorite uncle. Welcome to, as I said, episode 100. Momentous achievement, momentous occasions for the pod. 100 episodes in, we still ain't got no soundboard. Clipper. Shout out.
What is it? Kinare.
Gnare.
Every time I think of Shai Clipper, I always think of our JMPD. Like, just Shai Clipper, I'm fair to. You ran a stop sign, our officer. Yeah. Anyway, let me stop snitching. Welcome to the No Hidden Agenda podcast for first-time listeners. This is a hip-hop and life business and how the two intersect podcast. We've been in this, we're going on our third year. We, for the love of the culture, for the love of the game, for the love of enlightening people and putting people on, that's why we do it. So let's just start by Absentia acknowledging the best sound engineer in the game, our sound engineer, Tubby the Don. One love is always out there. Retail God, Retail Don. This is why there's an X in Tubby's name, putting in the work. One love to the homie, appreciate what he does for the podcast. We the nicest, with our sound, other podcasts, say, whoa. We also do this engineering thing.
You want to get some
some strays.
No, yeah. What do you call it? What did you call it? Split sheets.
Yes,
split sheets.
You want some split sheets your way, buddy?
Split sheets. Yeah, now we're gonna get there. We're gonna get into a lot of stuff. We're gonna get into. Yeah, we the splits.
They'll send some splits your way, buddy.
Like yo, my nigga, check that in. Here's the split sheets. We're gonna
what authority?
What authority? Yeah, we're gonna discuss a lot today. We'll discuss splits. We're gonna discuss authorities in the game overall. So the other voice you're hearing for the first time listeners is fellow co-host, brother in arms, the homie, teaser, aka Viner_T.
God Guluva himself.
Yes,
come
rocking the
on.
sweater. Hey,
Come on.
I wanted to come to that, but you beat me to it. God Guluva himself.
Manager of split sheets.
Wow.
It is clearly going to be one of those episodes. Yes, sir. Man, so you good, my G?
I'm all right, man. I'm loving the new spot.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hey?
Shout out to Trea, God, and we love the new spot. We're loving the
sir.
new spot. Yeah, we're gonna plug the venue where we at, come through, support black businesses, support female entrepreneurship, Don't just talk a good one, come and do it. We love the venue. Especially Sunday vibes. This is definitely the spot. And one person we want to acknowledge, just to give you a quick backstory, shout out to Mahuta, Kelvin, the homie. He traveled on to Durban, time with families in the coast.
Too much fun at the beach.
Yeah,
Way.
beach boy.
Coast boy, Mahuta was like, that he's about that coast life, but, as a precaution, recently got back, so COVID precaution, he was down in KZN. He can't make this episode, which, for the benefit of the listeners, this episode was supposed to be, I'm away for Ben to stop fiddling with his mic, because that's coming to not do your thing, Banks. Tubby's that nice, he's going to muffle that out. Yeah, so like I was saying, Mahuta, episode 100 was supposed to get to know Mahuta,
Sir.
Is the homie, his journey, from when he was at 60 Bars Reloaded, just the transitions he made into podcasting and just his whole story, So when Mahuta's out of quarantine, he's obviously values the homies.
Yeah,
we appreciate that, and he's, staying safe, doing what he does. So one love to you, homie, and your fams. Do what you gotta do. So when he's back, we're gonna get on with that episode. So like first time listeners and even regular listeners who've been writing us from day one, like it's something that Teaser's been mentioning that we started with Benzo on the one episode, and I really enjoy it. I've known Benzo for years, but we're trying to get to do a get to know section, unplanned, unscripted, but we want people to get to know more about each and every one of us,
Mm-hmm.
So that's the structure of episode 100, or was meant to be, but for unforeseen circumstances, when Mahuta's back, we're gonna get into that. But for now, we're here, we're riding, and the man who's recovering from a strong night, filling in, friend of the pod. If you've ever seen us having great food on any of our trips, if you've seen fly, yellow fish tail, I know what they call yellow fish. He's I'm a pseudo foodie. He's a real foodie, you know. Shout out to you, Tumeleng. I almost said your last name. I'm not gonna put your government on blast. AKA the homie Maizito, the king of the Val, Streets King, Val Guluva. The man himself.
He was not drinking the normal wine yesterday. So.
Oh yes, the levels.
Hey.
The palate was not used to what I was taking in here.
Can I tell you what he did?
Yes.
So we had I think it was Remy. And
He's having Remy.
Yeah, but he had it proper with the hot water and
Oh yes.
but like it's a strong kick.
You know, funny. Thanks for bringing that because I don't know if I'm aging. You know, recently turned 39. Like I'm really getting into cognac. Like I recently bought even a tray
So you're having,
with the round ice ball. So like you just put that and a splash of water. I'm trying to get to have cognac the way you're supposed to have it. And I've heard that whole thing with Remy, you're supposed to have the glass. I think it's warmed, a little bit of warm water.
Yeah.
But what I heard is like it kicks.
Sure. That shit is strong, bro.
Kicked him.
That shit is strong. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Definitely not doing it again.
Never. I'm fine. Not doing that shit anymore.
was it the difference that much, like in terms of how much it hit you?
I mean, it smells nice, but like, yo, dude, after one glass, I was like, teaser, fuck this shit.
Yeah, the aroma does come.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but if you wanna appreciate like you know what's funny about like how you drink like certain alcohols, like I've been trying that recently with wine, like where you read on the back, okay, what temperature you're supposed to have it at and those kind of things. And I've seen pairings, meals, whatever, those things do make a difference because I'm not even gonna lie, I'm gonna put it out there, I don't care if anyone judges me, I am a heathen. I don't have a wine cooler. So any wine I have, give it maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes before. That shit's going in the fridge, bro. I don't care what nobody says. You know, like the purists make me laugh. Purists hip hop, purists art, purists anything. Like, yo, fam, I paid for this. I'ma have it how I want. I used to have that whole thing where you give people side eye. Like, if someone having like an expensive whiskey, and then they dash it with like, I don't know, fucking cream soda. That's an extreme example. But I've been out and you see the like, but you know, people that come like, yo, you can't do that. You're not, yo, I bought it with my hard-earned money. I'm gonna enjoy it. So Miser's down with Remy, the way it's supposed to be had. And last, by way of introductions, we have a visuals team. And as always, when we mention the visuals team, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Shout out to Stills Bangoos, Bonga the homie. Shout out to Banley in the background. We always appreciate the edits and the work he puts in. And
I think we're dropping new episodes this week now.
yes.
Yeah.
And the man you just said yes is the one I was introducing. Homie, by the way of clan, so waffle. Benzo. You know, as always, if you think niggas ain't loyal, this man is loyal. Always repping. Visit Rwanda. Fly Emirates, you know.
Thursday or not.
Bro. Fam. I thought man, fuck y'all. I was hoping that wouldn't come up. Because the thing is like, yo, the joke's already flying like, yo, someone like said like in every family, there's always that kid who's like, yo, the rest of the kids go to school. But there's like one kid like, yo, I'm going to do music. We could have had an all-English Europa and Champions League final. But Arsenal was that abstractly like, nah, fam, to hell with this other shit, bro. I'm going left. Man, them niggas. But you know what? I'm giving a titter until his contract is up and see how that shit goes. Klopp needed 4 years to win his first trophy. Cool. This is not a sports podcast. This is a hip-hop podcast. We like to discuss hip-hop things and how they intersect with business, with life. Our main thing for first-time listeners, we like to give and educate not only first-time or new artists in the industry. We like to share. We never assume. We like to share information that even established artists, you know.
They need it, dog.
We have had good feedback from people, you know, who've said, like, yo, some of the stuff you guys unpack, I've been an established artist, I'm an artist in the game. Even I didn't know that. Good look, you know, appreciate. We have, you know, regular listeners who listen to our podcast, whom I'm not the biggest hip-hop fans, but when we meet them in person, it's always love in terms of how, like, yo, the way you guys unpack topics, I can relate to some of the stuff you're saying in my personal life, in corporates, you know. So that's what No Hidden Agenda does. That's what we're about. So, you know, just in terms of being at episode 100, you know, this is almost, will be 3 years in July from the first time we started this. And just as a precursor to that, you know, we came about with this podcast because we were always fans of hip-hop and hip-hop culture, and what we used to do is every time we hung out as friends, bros, whatever, we love hip-hop so much we'd get into heated arguments and debates, you know, and opinions. And at the time, podcasting was just starting. It had been there internationally. There were a few local podcasts. Shout out to Sobering. Shout out to Dojo. It was a fledgling industry, not like on the up as it is now. So this is how we came to having a podcast, because it became why not put our opinions out there? Put on the one. In fact, that's intellectual property.
No, that is
exactly
There's some of that.
true. Because one thing I have seen, it's a good point. Because as a podcast, I'm a fan of like just always knowing, learning, and researching. I think I've said on the pod, like in podcasting is like many things in life. You see, even in business, whenever something starts, it blows up. A lot of people jump on it, but one thing I have seen is like a lot of people, there's so many podcasts where it's 3-4 episodes and then that's it. You see it even with the established artists where they get gassed, they try it, but just like to the commitment point you're making, to make it to 100 episodes, week in, week out, sometimes 2 episodes a week, packing all this equipment, going to Porch, going to parades, recording on the road. We've got our own lives, we've got families.
Can't wait to go to Free State, bro.
Yeah, with that we definitely.
I'm gonna put it on audio. I want us to do Steno 20 in Free State. Let's see if we can make it happen. That would be nice.
Word, because
and I don't know if we're gonna be able to do the anniversary episode, because it feels like third wave is here. I don't know what about you guys, like.
See,
because like
I'm like we're heading to.
I'm actually starting to get worried as well. Even like with Mahuta, like sort of like taking that precaution.
Yeah.
And the whole thing that happened in the docking the ship from India.
in Durban from India.
Yeah, like it's, and you never know, because like third wave is actually not a behavior issue. It's more like a new strain.
Can I ask you a question real quick about
And it
these
feels like
strains? How come we keep having strains from Asia, from Africa, from Southeast Asia, but there's no strain from the West? Like for me, like
No,
really.
they had the UK one, you remember?
Oh yeah, like,
They had the UK one in December. Yeah.
For me, conspiracy theories aside, for me the South African strain for me came from the multitude of people who visit Europe.
Yeah,
The Cape Town. It's just travel plans. It makes sense.
It's
mutated.
Something else,
And I think a lot of what's happening with COVID is it's still uncharted territory. And the weird thing, because we had H1N1, we had swine flu, we had bird flu, and those I think both originated from Asia. It's just COVID seems to be lingering. Because if you remember with H1N1 flu, swine flu, bird flu, we heard about on the news, it was handled in Asia, it was quarantined, and life went on. So people assumed the same thing was going to happen with COVID. So when they mentioned third wave, and the timing of this third wave, touch wood, hope it doesn't happen, is it couldn't be worse because we're going into winter.
Yeah, especially for South Africa.
Yeah,
I mean,
with our seasons, because we're going into our winter. Other places, I know New York and them are now gearing up for summer and things are changing. Because I mean, for me, for all intents and purposes, from my limited knowledge of COVID, it's flu-like symptoms is a virus. So like when the weather turns for the worst, then just the containment of it makes it a bit challenging. So I think as always, just urge people to stay safe.
If you can, take a flu shot. If you have the opportunity to take the vaccine, take it. And then if you're not in any of those situations, just try and stay at home, because you never know. Like, I think if there's one thing that happened in December is we really responded late to this thing, and it made sense, like from a social perspective. It was December, and then he waited for like almost like the last week of the year to kind of close stuff down. But hopefully they'll respond in time. But if they don't, like as individuals, like rather try and limit your movements now before it's bad, because the problem with the new strain, we never know how severe it is. Next thing we're going to hear that hospitals are full and it's deadly and it's killing young people. Or, you never know what's going to happen because it's a new strain. Yeah. So try and stay protected as far as you can.
Side question, do you all believe in flu shots? I got one mine last week, so I'm not knocking it, right? But just as a joke, there's people who say flu shots are like a placebo, like they don't really work. But I think they do, because for me, for the past 3 years, I get it, and I haven't had like, there's a time where every year in, year out, I would get flu during winter. Yeah. But for me, at worst, since I started getting flu shots, I shout out to my medical provider. They give you one for free every year. So that's another thing on terms of this. We like to give public social advice. Just do yourself a favor, because some of you don't check your emails from these providers. It might be spam. Ask your service provider if your medical benefits. I don't want to say most of them, but some of them.
If you have medical aid, it'll probably be free.
They'll probably be free.
Even vitamin C's, I take supplements.
Because the reason why some of these shots might not work sometimes is because what they do is they're like, okay, you guys are only having winter now. The way they develop them is like they go check the countries that had winter before us, that the flu. So it's like creating a vaccine for a flu
winter
that's
that happened at, say Europe. Because their winter's June.
Yeah. But then if you get like a flu strain from another country where the vaccine is not meant to prevent that, you're gonna get the flu.
Yeah.
So that's what they do. It's like okay, Europe had winter and then they had the flu, whatever. Then they're like, okay, we developed this. Then they send it to South Africa because now
which makes sense.
It makes sense because from what I remember in high school biology, when I was paying attention, is most things that are virus based, they do change. So
it mutates.
So what Ben's was saying, it adds up that like if they're always trying to change because the vaccine sort of accommodates each winter season. But if you're gonna get something that's different, so which is probably why like people might say that stuff doesn't work for me. And some of these things also depends on your immune system. Like Miles is mentioning supplements. There are people who've got a very healthy lifestyle, any immune system booster will negate them the need to take supplement, which is also why with COVID they make it a point to highlight, say, people who already have preconditions and vulnerabilities. If you're elderly, if you have asthma, you're more prone. Like for me, I don't even lie, for the past month and a half, I've just been struggling with just shortness of breath, even with the whole wearing a mask thing in public. Like buffs are now working better for me as opposed to mask because I think, but just high level, I've got my own theories about maybe in the future, I hope, but I think there's going to be side effects that are going to come from the amount of times we just keep sanitizing our hands. Like us, I don't think we're supposed to have that kind of exposure to sanitizing our hands or wearing masks, because with wearing masks, you're breathing in CO2, which you're meant to be breathing out, but it's a precaution for health, But hey, stay safe out there. That's the main thing. We hope with the third wave, the president obviously and I've always been from the get-go, I'm not overly critical because it's uncharted territory and he's balancing a lot. He's on the one side, he's got people trying to get him to open up the economy because we need the economy working. And then
and he has Ace.
I thought you were going to say someone trying to suspend him.
like Ace. Yeah, I can't. The lane opened up for me to dunk, but I chose Steph Curry layup. Let me play it safe.
You have integrity, though.
The man's already got enough on his plate right now. Instead of trying to be suspended, But it's been an interesting week. We could unpack a lot of stuff. But,
I was gonna say, maybe without because we need to get to the shits, bro. We're not gonna have a long episode, so we need to get to the shits. I wanted to say, I think the last time we actually had a reflection episode was when we did 50. When we went to Paris the first time, and without dragging this for too long, though, I don't know, maybe from 50 to now. I mean, any sort of takeaways?
Hey,
especially between me and you, Cash, because
For my first takeaway is I think it's the pod and how we're doing it. My love for it has been maintained because I've always enjoyed being in this space. I love hip hop. I love the media space. I love just with voiceovers and all that stuff. I just have a passion for it. But one thing that does happen in life with most things, there's people who say, if you do what you love, you'll never have to work another day in your life. Man, that shit is fucking bullshit, bro. Straight up and down.
A lot of work.
It's even if you enjoy what you do, fam, you could work for the best employer. You could work for a firm. Those firms that get those 5-star ratings every year from KPMG. Those employer reviews and all that. But you're still gonna have days where because work is work.
Yeah.
So for me,
maybe you don't love it enough.
Huh?
Maybe you don't love it enough.
No, ask the dojo. Shit is a lot of
fam, ask the dojo.
We were at the event, him
shout out to the dojo, Tabang and the homies.
I don't know why y'all want to do this, but
every single time I go to a dojo pool party, I always make it a point that gents, shout out to you. Ain't no way we are doing an event, fam. Homies are there by the bar, the alcohol, they got the Yoko car machine, they got friends helping us. It's just too much, bro. And that's their event, it's their community. Now picture people, it brings into perspective people who do full-on events like Link Up, Opikopi, Cotton Fest or whatever. And I understand why some of those events, after a while, even if they build a following, it just either dies or homies just they just stop, But for me, the main
sell it.
Sell it off if you build it up. For me, the main takeout, from episode 50, we did our reflections and how we got there. I've really grown into the love has stayed the same. To Benzo's thing about maybe you don't love it enough. I still do love it. I actually love it even more. But there's times where, you know, that little artist thing of like, yo, there's the work aspect to it. And also, it's been, I think, year and a half. And a lot's happened in that with the way we live with COVID, where our lives are changing. It might only be 2 years, but 2 years can happen in a lot of person's lives. So with, personally for me, speaking with like life, side hustles, work, relationship progressions, things with friends, you probably find that the pod just used to be something we do on a Saturday. It for the first couple of episodes, first year, it felt like just going with the homies and kicking it like we always did in the beginning, how we started this pod, but we're recording. But now it's a full-on thing that's intensive because the equipment's ours. If we're going to go on the road, pack, take, record. And even after, for the listeners, you guys just get to press play and consume. You know, not like we're complaining, just to give you scope. But for us, is even after when you might see the visuals, it might just looks like guys chilling, they got drinks, they're talking about what they like. But, you know, when the camera stops rolling, when we stop recording, there's still going to be the editing, the uploads, making sure everything's right, quality control, it's work, So a Sunday for me, that might not just be a simple Sunday. It's a Sunday of listening to the raw file, highlighting, flagging places where Tabi, our sons, and needs to tweak so that give you, because we believe in putting our best foot forward, giving you like quality. In the beginning, we didn't do a lot of that. We were just rolling. You know, and there's a lot of artists who just let's just record, just span. You know, I had the word span a lot from the homie Kwesta this week. You know, we're gonna touch on that. You know, so but I think the main takeaway is that's where I'm at. Still enjoy it. The love has actually grown, but I think I'm just now more in tune to the fact that it's work and work not in a bad way. Like it's not like how I feel with like dealing with clients and some of my own things. You know, because that's just getting a paycheck to survive and maintain your lifestyle. With this now, it's also from 50 to 100. I've started thinking a lot more. I didn't unintentionally about what is the future of me in the media space of NHA with the homies? Because I always think long term, and I've always thought, we can do all this, but real talk, this pod, NHA Media, Property Corner, it's not for us. It's real talk. Like it's for Lulama. It's for Lwandle. Like if we really wanna creating generational,
you're building something.
You're building something. So even if them as kids or whoever. Even for Benzo, Miser, and even me, niggas who are still have our kids in our genes, so to speak, I'm taking it there because the thing is, even if they don't want to be involved in the media space, this should be something I can build and have access to resources where even if one of them wants to do something on a different tangent, the media should have created the funding where they can have that platform where if a teacher is saying, this kid is gifted with this, I'll have a platform through NHA and others where I can give them that. We didn't have that with our parents. They did their part, but opening lanes where we could go to schools, meet people. A lot of people do business with outside of school, even with NHA, our homies from parent sacrifices. So you want to do that because I know sometimes people make that misconception of this thing, I need to leave it to my kids, but you should be open to the fact that what if your kids have got absolutely no love for media, the creative space, and that kind of thing. So then becomes I got networks from this.
Luckily, we're good enough to make sure that it doesn't end up like RapLyf. We'll make sure that it's good, and we'll get to that.
Are we in the speech? Chief.
No, not yet. Yeah, I want to just because I want us to actually get to it. So I wanted to say what I really liked on my side was I think we did less features or less guests over the last 50 compared to the first one. So that was really great that a lot of times then, the content had to come from us, which was pretty dope because it just tells you that you can do this on your own. It's your thoughts. You're just actually expressing yourself. The industry perspective has also been very interesting in the sense of lots of podcasts now out, Popcast and Ricky and, all the other podcasts that have came out since when we started, you know what I mean? It just puts a little bit of not pressure, but like the field is wide open. So you just you can't just do it like, like you were saying, it feels like work. It's not work, but it's like you gotta differentiate yourself. Stogie and them just released their first episode the other day. Triple Distilled, shout out to them. So what I do find very interesting for me as we get to 100 is like it's like we gotta now let's go again and be different. You know what I mean? You wanna stand out. You wanna be, special in a way. And I like the space as it grows. Even with South African content. I mean, this whole week we had so much content. From McG. Remember when I don't know if McG was even out when he did 50. But you look at what they've done so far. and the space itself. Like, I love it so much that it feels like, in America you have the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Like, our radios are so shit that like the Breakfast Club is podcast now. You know what I mean? Like, Charlemagne is McG.
Yes. If you think of it,
You know what
and
I'm
for the
saying,
longest time, look there and here, the Breakfast Club was like the staple, the benchmark. Yeah.
So
I like that. Charlemagne is Mac G. Shout out to Mac G.
yeah, shout out to Mac, man. So, but I think it's dope. I love it. Yeah, I can't wait for us to get to 150, then to get to 200. I look forward to the journey.
Yeah, and we look forward to you guys as always listening to us. Spins. That's one thing I forgot to say. Shout out to the listeners, first time listeners, for people that are day ones, our community. NHA fans. We don't have a name for y'all chillers. We don't have what. Well, shout out to the Mlangenis. We'll find one. So we'll find one for y'all. Knowing us is gonna be something extra, something crazy.
Yeah.
But y'all gonna wear that with pride. But yeah, it's all about hip hop music. And speaking of music,
Patreon is coming.
Yeah, subscribe to our Patreon. Yeah, like we're gonna find a way to monetize. Merch is on the way. That's in conclusion for me with the journey. YouTube's rolling out. We've got merch coming out. So we're on that transition of Teaser rightfully said, because the space, I don't see it as crowded. I'm competitive, so I see the spaces now. It's now forcing people, us included, to really differentiate themselves. Whether pods come out once a week, once a month. And one thing I do like is spoiled for choice. Like Joy and them didn't drop this week, so if we don't drop, like I think the podcast is in a healthy space in terms of media. Sometimes is a bit cliquey and competitive, but with the podcast space, that's why we did joints. We've had the JoJo on our pod. We've had the Sobering. It's a collaborative space, and also like in terms of options, I don't care if another 10 hip hop podcasts come out, it's the benefit is for the listeners.
Correct.
We have like people listen to us, listen to the Sobering, when we did that episode, we're like, our two-faced together, that kind of energy. Because it's all about music and putting out content. And speaking of music, New Music Daily, Friday, not too much came out, but we're going to get it. Obviously, we haven't really unpacked Kwesta's album since, we had our last pod. Want to get into that.
Yeah. God
Guluva, Teaser's rocking the sweater for those of you listening to audio. But if you want to see, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, like, click the bell icon so you can have notifications every time we drop a new episode. We'll get into Kwesta, but real quick, K.O.
Oh,
Give
K-Hova.
me low moo. Y'all are on your lambile swear K.O.'s putting in work.
I haven't jumped it a lot, man. Yesterday was a bit busy for me, so like I haven't jumped it a lot. Yeah.
I had a hectic week, so one thing I'm enjoying about music daily, because I'm a bit of a addictive personality. Like I want to make sure I get through everything. Sometimes you can't. So I took a page out of your book. Like if I'm doing any work where I'm not like on the phone, where I don't have to concentrate too much on what I'm like typing up, podcasts or music, so Friday my thing is just go through the new music daily with the hip hop, especially even singles, because before I didn't give time to singles, I just did it for albums, but there's a lot of fire singles that might go under the radar that you might miss. So Akeo got something else, and then also shout out to RapLyf. I saw on their page that he dropped the video as well. So just add a few joints, Young M.A., K.O., few other artists, even international. So as I'm listening to music, I'm like, this K.O. joint. K.O.'s a knack for just slipping one out, bro.
Yeah, I saw like he was getting a lot of love on Twitter, but you listen to the track, you like it. It seems like a lot of people really like it.
I saw, because I mean, like even I had on rotation so much, and also J.Cole, obviously, Interlude dropped out. We know we're rolling up to off seasons, dropping the 14th.
Yeah, next week.
So, people are gassed about that, as we all would be. I mean, it's J. Cole.
Yeah.
And just that single, touch on it real quick, you can see high level what kind of Cole album it's going to be. And even just also from Rolls from Dreamville, the 2-pack that he dropped last year, A Loose Street. So with the KO album, because I think KO, even with Lucky Star, was a single, right?
Yeah, he is gonna drop. Hopefully.
Yeah. One thing I do like about KO, what I want to mention, is that KO has a knack for having a single in the bag.
Yeah,
and even how he rolls it out. Because funny you mentioned the love that he got on Twitter. Old school way. One exactly. Not too much fluff, not too much noise and screaming. Because he even mentions he's got a line when he talks about. But I like the fact that we still have rappers in the game who that's how they move, because the music, all that other stuff is necessary for like how you roll out. different ways to how, as artists, you need to be more present and connect with your fan base.
Isn't it too long for you? I mean, you guys are the guys that said you don't really like the pre-orders and stuff like that. I mean, Lucky Star was last year. This is a second single.
See,
we don't know when the album is.
The fact here's I think with the pre-order thing it'll be. I'm only hearing that KO is dropping. It's got something on the way from you, because I'm just thinking he's just putting out Lucy's.
No, it's coming.
Exactly. So what we were saying with the pre-order that we don't like, it's like if it was sitting now.
Yeah, like if he releases a pre-order link.
Can you imagine from Lucky Star? Then from Lucky Star up to now.
But it's gonna be on the album though.
Yeah. That's the other thing. Then brings us back to our debate of how much of this is on that. But we've already touched on that. First time, listen to our previous episode. But one thing I just wanted to highlight with you, shout out to KO, because like you said, I noticed the love he was getting because I saw that, okay, he's already dropped the video. So I just Googled KO, the algorithm. Something is trending about that person. Immediately, video link came up, and then I saw just tweets, people giving like mad love, and it makes sense because it is a dope album. But what I like about KO is his work ethic is old school, like you're saying. Just put out the music, and he, as an artist, it's a good look when I like artists who back their own ability, their talent, because with COVID added, there's that whole touch and go thing of, should I put out music? It's part of the reason why, and we're about to get into Kwesta. Kwesta mentioned on other platforms that album was done. But now with COVID, you can't perform, you can't tour. Is this the right time? And stakes are high because for him, like Reese's first indie project, this is now you going solo. We're going to get into the reasons why. Obviously, Kwesta's now doing his own thing. What happened to RapLyf and the homies, from a business perspective, But I like the KO single, the J.o.d single, real quick. It's cool. It's an interlude, but it's a track, short 2 minutes.
For J.o.d, I'll wait for it. Like next week is not far.
Yeah, next week is not far. But for me, I just think I listen to it, and J.o.d is a mood person. You can listen in any mood, but I like what I heard from that one track. I was just gonna be guest with J.o.d anyway, And on a random side note, I've been mad at K.o.d for like, man, homie, fucking damn was a long time ago. But the fact that I'm getting a Cole project this year, if K.o.d doesn't drop, oh good, I'm straight because I got Reese. I'm gonna get a J.o.d project. KO is always dope, But. And the funniest thing about music before we get into KO, into Kwesta. KO's last project for me doesn't feel like that far along. When did it drop?
Yeah, it doesn't. I think it was PTY Unlimited.
Yeah, PTY Unlimited.
It's probably 19. 19 potentially. It is long. It's 3 years ago.
I was about to say yes.
It's just the time felt so,
Yeah, I was about to say maybe as a question to you guys, don't have to take it too far. In the DSP era, because like old school, I was showing my age. There was a time I used to get like a project and sit with it for 4 years because obviously now things have changed. DSPs, a lot of music comes out. To me, 2 years between projects, it feels short for me. Maybe I'm alone on this because, like, let's talk about what you mentioned teaser the other day with Casper and Any Minute now. How Casper is kind of now running with Amapiano because he's hot. But I really thought about this week, like, Teaser was right. Casper could still be doing more with Any Minute now because that's a dope album.
Yeah,
but is he being dictated to by how the game is?
Look. I don't want us to discuss it, but it's not bad because it just depends on who's who, right? If you're able to remain relevant for 2 years straight, it's simple. It's like Ricky gets to remain relevant with no album out because he's just relevant. So if you're relevant, it's dope. But if you're not relevant, then 2 years is probably too long because you're not in our faces. So then there's no right or wrong with either of the approach. Yeah, you know what I mean. That's why I was like.
Yeah, it's not even something to get into. I was just trying to ask him from a time perspective, but I think in terms of relevance, you probably covered my thoughts because if you're not relevant, then 2 years is like the longest time for fans, and worse if you're not even an established name. Because now we've always talked to upcoming artists or in there or thereabouts on the come up where you have to stay relevant. The COVID span aside, or just even besides, forget COVID, the transition of how music is now consumed with DSPs has made artists now always have to think on their feet, like even with social media, how do I use social media to stay relevant? Is dropping Lucy's enough features, so I think it's good. It forces them, the creators.
Can I ask something? Like that's very interesting. Do you think as an established artist, is it necessary for you to keep releasing music or albums all the time? Like Ricky Rig. Like he's a big brand. Does he need to release an album every year?
So he doesn't, but he does in a sense of like I think he dropped Unganglish right the other day, you know, and he's got a lot of, and then he's got another EP that he put out maybe in 2018. But it's like if you go to a Ricky show now, like you're probably gonna hear Nafukwa all over again, like the songs you know. So music is necessary in a sense of you gotta update your set list. You know what I mean? But the flip side of it is you need one single, then you're back on the
on the scene.
Just like KO, like now.
Yeah, but my thing is more like I don't know if you guys like literally like watch some of the guys. Like when you go out, bro, like I remember there was a time where I was just tired of Nadia's set, like, and I was so happy when her album dropped because we could have a new set. You know what I mean? Like, there was a time where like I knew AKA set. There was a time where I knew Casper set, especially when you go out a lot because that's all they keep performing. So from that perspective, that's why you do need to drop music. You want to update your set list. You want people that have seen you to want to see you again. Because, like, why must I see you again and you're doing Doc Cheveles again? You know what I mean? So
That's a good example.
So from that perspective, that's why you do need music, you know. But what's also interesting is, like, if you don't drop, like Kwesta, you know, like God Guluva, the last album was probably 5 years ago. In between you had fillers, and the album is great, but like so much can happen in between. You know what I mean? And we'll get to that in between. But maybe let's start with the music, you know, like he's still good. You know what I mean? It shows you that like I can go away for 5 years and I come back and I give you God Guluva. And the album is fucking amazing. I don't know if you've listened to it.
No, I haven't.
You haven't?
I think I'll
Benzo?
I did.
You did?
It's dope.
I love the
I'm
album,
loving
bro.
it.
I really like it. Like he's grown from music perspective, you know, the melodies, the features, like he did them really well. Younger chief opening that shit.
intro,
Oh my god.
Trea.
Like, you know, and then TLT, you know, like I know Marco said them niggas are playing, but like them niggas are rapping, dog. Like on
Dulas.
yeah, on Dulas. Like, come on. So like the album is fucking dope, bro. Like I really like it, and I hope that in the middle of all of this drama, you're actually spinning the album because like it would be such a shame that you have all this controversy around the album, but the numbers are not there. So
We don't want the controversy to outshine the actual music.
while y'all are actually tuning to the drama, which I'm tired of,
Listen to
spin the album though. You know what I mean? Because funny enough, on the album he did there's a song, what is it? Kettle.
Let's see.
Snakes in the crib, right?
Yeah.
Snakes in the crib, you know,
Yeah.
talking to Nata. And we'll talk to like how all of that happened. But just like even him rapping about that situation, you know, like I think he mentioned the line where he said like everyone says they pay, but where's the money?
Actually,
You know
that
what I
line
mean?
hit
Like,
was
and it feels like it's the one that spiraled all of this stuff, you know. And he didn't touch much on what happened with RapLyf, you know. He just spoke about himself, where he's at as an individual. He spoke about how he sometimes doesn't even recognize himself, you know, on who am I.
yeah.
And even working with KO, bro, like
He was
the song that
gassed.
they did together.
Because it's fun. I actually see some things. Even if you listen to music and you're a fan, it could Kwesta to highlight that he hadn't done a song with Kwesta, and I'm like, oh shit, word. Kwesta's have a song with KO.
No, they have on KO's album.
Yes, they do.
On
but
P2
you're saying, you know what? He for the longest time, even when that song happened, right?
Yeah.
He'd been in the game, and you know, he was just like, he told homie like, "Yo, we don't have a song together, so on another platform," and he was gassed. You know this. You know, I'm saying this point because sometimes there's some assumptions we make as fans that there has to be a collab between these two, and the experience for him working with KO, but. To add to the point on what you're saying, and I'll let you come back. I liked how album is more about Kwesta and where he is right now with his life. It really comes out in the music because the way he structured the songs, the content. The album, one, is fire, like you're saying. He still got it after a long absence. Two, he didn't go much too into the weeds. And you want in the music was a lot of these artists, they don't do interviews. And when they do, they speak high level, they speak in riddles.
They're quite vague.
Yeah, that shit irritates the shit out of me, you know, because it's polished, it's PR responses, you know. I also like the fact that we have like platforms like Mac G's a bit on the he'll poke and probe to get that out of you. You know,
Yeah.
some other platforms are too PC. We focus more on the business side and what can be added to what people can learn from that. You know, but I like the fact that there's now so many platforms and content creators, and the media space is really opened up. So we can get that outside of the music, which then gives the album longevity. You know, otherwise before I'd have been crying for like, yo, give us the backstory. You know, like why are you speaking riddles? Why are you being vague?
Yeah.
You know, and Benz, I want to get your take from the album, but I think my take, you know, we'll get back to teaser. But my take with this whole album is just that there's a lot of maybe just me. There's maybe one too many emo songs, if I can call them that. Which is not a bad thing. Length of the album I'm happy with. Number of tracks, the sequencing. It's definitely got a first half and second half to the album.
Yeah.
That's definitely, and like how it's structured, maybe, you know, not to criticize Kwesta, you know, like as fans we always have something to, you know, we're nerds, we always nitpick, you know, but there's a section of the album where it's a lot of songs where he's giving of himself, you know, it's the other side. Yeah, so like there's a one song where it's clearly it's a lover's jam where he's speaking about him and his girl, you know, and women like Kwesta.
The one of Tapsi again.
I think so, yeah. Like, where it's obviously like turn around, back it up. I remember I felt like, this song is not for me, bro. Like, yo, this is Kwesta getting into his sexy bag with his partner. The girls are gonna love it. They love Kwesta, but I'm like, nah, this is not for me. You know, like, you know, ladies, y'all do y'all love Kwesta. You know, y'all like his voice, but that's the content. That's because homie's in a marriage. He's got kids, his father. You know, the whole nine. I wouldn't say it's age appropriate music. It's more life appropriate in terms of where he's at as an artist, you know. And I always harp on about this because don't take it for granted locally and internationally. There's some artists who fail to progress their content with what they create. You know, you can't still be thugging it out. Now you're 40, you've got kids. Yeah, you're still in the space, but you're not that dude, you know. Zola still couldn't be, if Zola was going to rap, you know, he still couldn't be giving us Ghetto Fabulous because he's not that dude anymore. But some artists, you know, not to poke or make fun of them, I'm paying homage to the ones who are able to make that transition with their music. You know, even with actors, you know, like the roles change because your life has changed, and with Kwesta it seems seamless, especially after like a 4 or 5 year absence, because sometimes there's that whole, how do I come back? I remember I saw Cooley on Casper's pod. He was not sure when to come back, put out a few tracks as fillers to see. And Cooley's established. We'd all assume on our side, from the outside, we're like, yo, Cooley can come back anytime. We're still going to ride with it. But creators always have those second thoughts and doubts.
I mean, yeah.
And it makes sense.
Life, yeah.
But it's life. But look, I love the project, number of tracks, you know. With Kwesta, what he's done is
the sound is good. It's very hip hop. I had thought the song of K.O. and like Folka was going to be like a Mapiano. I'm glad they didn't take it to Mapiano. You know, that's what's so nice. Like,
why though? Because like he did touch on when he was asked about the relationship with hip hop and Amapiano. Yeah. Would it be typical if he took it that direction?
Yeah, like I also like. And maybe this is more for my like for Folka. Like I really like Folka, and I think he's doing my piano for obvious reasons. It's commercially viable, but it's like sometimes come to the other side again because at some point people are gonna forget you hip hop. You know what I mean?
Thing.
So, and then it was also nice for them to almost like pick it's almost like a quiet to beat, you know, like Skanda vibes in a sense, like back to, because for their age, it's like, you know, if you're gonna have K.O. and Kwesta on an Amapiano song, it's actually an odd sound to have it at.
Yeah.
Whereas the song they have now, because it's like hip hop in a way, it can actually stand test of time. Like we can bump this song again in a couple of years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, with Kwesta, with Kwesta, one thing he's always good at, and he's mentioned it, he's a hip hop artist for all intents and purposes. Yeah. But this one thing that he was maintained on this album, Kwesta's always that signature quote unquote ghetto spokesman, where he can mix hip hop and kwaito. And I heard him say that sometimes people, to throw shade at him, they say like, is he rap or is he kwaito? Like, yo, that's
that's grew up on.
Yeah, that grew up on. And like, I don't even take that as an insult. That's actually because I speak for the hood, and for me, my sound, my signature, I've always been intentional about doing that. Like we always talk on the spot, like how sometimes the unintended competitiveness for space between hip hop and deep house and kwaito, because South Africa is a party nation, right? So for the masses, it makes sense why it for me it makes perfect sense. grew up in Katlehong. He's about that Kasi life. Even Fire in the Ghetto, it makes sense. He's saying, look, we love this place, but this place ain't it. Here are the challenges, even though we rep it. So why would he not take Kwaito? Because Kwaito is originally moved from Kasi. It was telling Kasi stories.
Especially at the core of it. It represented the people.
Exactly. And if I'm a rapper, how do I merge that? Because the synergy didn't make sense. That look, I grew up from there. I'm gonna tell my story. If Kwesta came out and tried to be North, there'd have been a disconnect because he's not a North dude. Yeah, he's not Elias and the homies.
He should, in skills wise.
Try
because you can't stay hood forever, bro. Niggas will take your shit.
Ask 50. Ask Tupac about that shit. All the niggas like, yo, I'm 50, like, yo, fuck the hood. I'm out that motherfucker. Because it's also authenticity. I will speak to authenticity with music. Can't be hood forever because I don't even know if he still lives. You can rep the hood.
Yeah, I realized what I meant by saying you can't stay the hood forever. I actually meant like business wise. You know what I mean? Like. Because when you're the hood, that's when you gotta do stuff and like, yo, we doing this together, ne? Yeah. Ain't no paperwork around. Like when them niggas in the North, no paperwork, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, you can't be a hood forever in that sense. Like your business at some stage can't be gassy forever. Yeah.
And while we are on that topic, probably a great way to segue into the next topic in terms of...
I mean, before you jump into it, Teaser's actually quite right. I think artists need to start to be selfish. Like sometimes you need to look out for yourself, man.
Yeah. That's what the sobering dudes will tell you, Marco.
Yeah. Like I actually think so.
Here's one thing I want to say to artists, not even a criticism, right? Artists and creators at heart, they hate the business side of things. They hate the corporate. They hate dealing with the suits, as they call them. But one thing you'd never want to run away with, especially if you, at your core, if you know your talent, whether you like it or not, at some point, a contract is going to have to be signed.
You have to step up. That's why Teaser says you can't be hood forever. So you have to step up, bro. Like
we're calling it hood, quote unquote, because the hood thing is always, but it's actually, besides being it's a hood thing, it's also a creative thing. Creators just have this thing of like, let's just work. I just want to rap. I just want to put out music. Even painters, let me get an agent who's going to make sure my art is going to get in the best galleries. I just want to paint. I don't have to deal with meetings and corporates and be at a certain time, carry yourself like this. You guys handle all that. But see, that whole thing of you guys handle all that is how, since time immemorial, from local to international, we keep hearing the same thing over and over and again. Fights, splits. This was never signed. If it was signed, it was not signed right. Or this guy was running with this. Okay, Maiza had a company. Fuck it. Let's go with your company. And if you think of it, if we know now from our backgrounds, how hard is it to register a company with Cipro?
But the other thing is like, I don't think you can fault other artists much, because some of the advice that they got was like, you need to create a strong team around you.
Yeah.
So to handle all these things.
You focus on making the content,
exactly.
The music.
Now,
good point.
Now, if you're Kwesta, he'll be like, I did that.
Just like, ask him how he did it.
Yeah, Kespa has family tree.
He has a company.
Yeah, he has family tree. A lot of stuff goes through that, which makes sense, and AKA had Beam Group, whatever. Like,
I think what happens with the artists is not an old excuse, but sometimes I don't know what it is with artists or creators, but especially with rappers. Rap is competitive, it's braggadocio, right? But do that with the music. You guys can spar on the mic, on a music, right? But on the back, it should be collabs. It should be information sharing. Like real talk. There's no way. If I have any video related, I'm not going to reach out to Bonga and Benzo who are part of our media team. It makes absolutely no sense. Or I'm not going to Google that shit. But in listening to some of the interviews and just over and above him, when's the last time you spoke to homie? Like, these are guys in business for like years, right? And they'll be asking, so when the last time you spoke to him? I was like, we're not really talking. And it's not just them. Even internationally, I've always tried to wrap my head around that, not in a judgmental way to say, but okay, look, if you were deep for this long and you created something as friends, right? I'll just get to one stage where now y'all can't even pick up the phone and talk. Dude, people have fallouts, people have disagreements, right? But some of these things in terms of just information.